So I'm watching the Kingdom anime from start to finish for the very first time, and I made it to the end of the third faction arc. Season 2 is peak. Episode 6 begins with meeting the Queen Mother of Chen, or in other words, Sei's mother. She's a baddie. What can I say, except she's hot. She fits that classic matriarchal archetype that you see in fantasy. The strong woman, usually a queen, that is terrifying as she is beautiful. It is safe to say that her royal harem, as the third faction, is extremely powerful. Clearly she rules through fear, but still, every single woman in the royal harem remains obedient to her. It must be such a useful ability to be able to use her beauty as a means to confuse all those that gaze upon her. Like, how can someone look so beautiful and so graceful, but at the same time be so cold? Later in the episode, we see a really good example of the Queen Mother using her sensual nature to her advantage. It shows just how powerful she is when she can make even a eunuch feel flustered. First of all, it should have been me. Second of all, I don't blame him. The Queen Mother wants to do the pocket challenge? Bro is living the dream. Near the end of the episode, Sei meets with his mother for the first time in a long time. Of course, the first thing that the Queen Mother tries to do is assert dominance. But with every attempt, Sei, being the firm guy that he is, does not succumb to her aggression. You can tell frustration is not something she is used to. This is the one person that does not tremble in fear in her presence. Since the direct intimidation approach doesn't work, the Queen Mother resorts to psychological warfare. She sees that Sei clearly does not fear her, so she mocks him for having become such a fine man. It is obvious that her words do not match her attitude. During their conversation, we get a glimpse into the Queen Mother's true nature. She reminisces about how they managed to escape the torture of the Zhao capital, where they had to reduce themselves body and soul to survive, and somehow they managed to take their place as royalty in Chen. It is quite literally a twist of fate that occurred, but at the same time, her hatred is so deep that she declares that if the heavens truly decided their destinies, and this was their fate, she would tear apart the heavens as long as this curse of a life remained. Episode 7 begins with an epic flashback into the Golden Age, where Oki and the 6 great generals of Qin reigned supreme. A Zhao general named Rempa was able to hold both of these 6 greats to a stalemate. How strong must this general be to accomplish such a feat? It wasn't until we got replaced by Chokatsu, who Oki no-diffed, that Zhao immediately lost. The crazy thing is, at this time, supposedly, Oki was still a lieutenant that may have been serving under Hakuki. He easily slayed Chokatsu, who was supposed to be level with Rempa. This goes to show both Oki and Rempa's insane prowess. This epic flashback quickly turned ominous. The Battle of Chohei would become infamous because of Hakuki's actions here. He ordered for every single last surrendered Zhao soldier to be buried alive. It is an understatement to call this guy a menace. If anything, this situation serves to make sense of why Sei and his mother were treated so horribly during their time in Zhao. Later in the episode, the Sei flashback begins, and he has a really simple but heartwarming character development moment. I don't know how this anime made an entire scene about the moon so interesting. It is here that we meet a girl named Shika. She drops some bangers. For one, she said she used to hate the moon because it always seemed like it was shining more beautifully when she was down, almost like it was laughing at her. That's real. Shika said it wasn't until someone came along, her adoptive father, that she came to realize the truth about the moon. How poetic is that? She is the one that happened to come along for Sei. They both then share in the truth about the moon. The message her father left behind was that the moon simply shines brighter than usual to cheer us up and onward. A message as beautiful as the moon itself, enough to move anybody, especially me. Sei, being mesmerized, says it all. Near the end of the episode, Shika resolves to save Sei after her 2 trusted comrades question her about having second thoughts. Their adoptive father was the one that lent a hand to save them from certain death, and now before them is a young boy that needs a same hand to save him from likely death. I'm being moved, man. Shika said, what second thoughts could she have? She said, oh me, oh my life. I will return Sei to his kingdom. Episode 8 begins with Sei fighting his demons, or rather a demon. Standing before him is the manifestation of his own doubt, the unshakable doubt that he could never be king. Every attempt to sleep inevitably turns into a nightmare. It goes beyond trauma. It's torture at this point. All he can hear are the voices of those that suffocated because of Chohei. There has never been a time where Sei did not get blamed for what happened to these people. Later in the episode, we get a really good physical representation of how deep Sei's trauma goes. Sei, while hiding in a barrel, is shot and does not make a sound. Like Sheikah said, how on earth does a child not cry when an arrow has pierced his arm? Let alone not bat an eye when that same arrow is pulled out. Sheikah is correct in saying that childhood hardship can suppress emotions, but like she also said, it goes beyond that. Sei is broken. It is so sad to see. Near the end of the episode, the demons get worse. Sei no longer needs to sleep to have these nightmarish attacks. Low-key, the demon was keeping it real. Sei is trying to escape back to Shin, and who's waiting for him? His father? The same one that abandoned him in the first place? His mother doesn't even want him, and she gave birth to him. It's all because of Sei that she couldn't live her lavish life in Zhao. I can't lie. Sei already being down in the dumps is probably hearing these as some convincing ass points. Sei ends up running away into the forest, leading into one of the series' most emotional moments. Sheikah chases after Sei only to see him stab a stick through his wrist. Like all of us, she's shocked. But the saddest thing is that he can't feel the pain. To make it worse, he can't taste. He can't smell. He can't feel warmth or cold. Of course, he doesn't feel like he can be king. He doesn't even feel like he can be a human. It is nothing short of heartbreaking to see that Sei consistently felt so much abuse to the point that all he could feel was nothing. Sheikah is a real one. To think this child had to endure so much pain because of something out of his control. A little boy not even 10 years old, and no one helped him. Not until now. Not until best girl Sheikah. You can be king, Sheikah proclaims. I will make sure of it. If you have no pain, I'll feel it for you. Taste, smell, all of it. I keep being moved. And she got me with the last thing she said. Sei can feel just fine. They were both moved by the moon's glow that night. She got me there. The gentle approach still wasn't enough. So Sheikah said, to hell with that. Here's a wake-up call. Your demons aren't real. It's all mental. Wake up. And to top it all off, Sei receives his very first hug. Sheikah was the light that allowed him to feel that warmth for the first time in his life. So sad, but so beautiful. This is what people mean when they say sometimes people just need a hug. A hug goes a long way. Episode 9 once again sees Sei fighting his demons, but in a different setting. No longer is he being tormented by a nightmare. Instead, in this ocean of uncertainty, someone finally lent him a hand where he was previously drowning. This is the first time where Sei is actively trying to escape instead of resigning himself to the trauma. Sheikah is the sole reason why Sei is able to believe that humans are inherently good. She is likely the sole reason why Sei chose his path of unifying all of China. To be treated so terribly by the Zhao people, and still someone from that same nation was the one who saved him. That is more than enough for him to believe in his path as king. Notice when he wakes up, he is firm. He isn't screaming. When everyone doubts that they'll make it to Qin, it is Sei, of all people, that says not to give up. Ladies and gentlemen, he's back. Here is his first of many speeches. We still have arrows. Our horses are still running. Now is no time to be dropping our heads, one step at a time. All we should be thinking about is getting a single step closer to Qin. How epic and how heartwarming and funny to see Sei tell Sheikah it's not like her to give up so easily. Sheikah says it best, Sei has woken up. That's our king. That's my king. Later in the episode, Sheikah displays a level of selflessness that is damn near impossible to match by anyone. A true sacrifice. While Sheikah is fighting for her life, pulling arrows out of her arm, Sei is trying his best to keep his promise to her, to look forward no matter what. A bittersweet but courageous message. Sei then questions Sheikah about what we've all been thinking. Why has she gone through such lengths for him? For one, she was also saved by a complete stranger, the man that would become her adoptive father. And right before he passed, he asked Sheikah to do something for someone else down the road if the opportunity ever came. But for Sheikah, it goes beyond that. I can't help but continue to be moved. One moment after another. She simply wishes to see the moon with Sei one more time. And all this is enough for her to put her life on the line for him. Of course, right before help arrives, Sheikah tanks every spear, arrow, and blade thrown at Sei. So when he finally can't help but turn around, she is is already done for. Near the end of the episode is unfortunately our last moments with Sheikah, the one responsible for the insane willpower Sei has today. On the brink of death, and still, Sheikah's first thought is Sei's well-being. So sad. They just made it to Chin, but she barely didn't. Seeing Sei try to hold back tears is depressing, man. He's right though. It's because of her, of all the people that sacrifice themselves, that he will be king. Sei being able to name every single person is more than just gratitude. It's pure sincerity. What Sheikah says next is straight facts. His unfortunate birth meant that he walked a path that no royalty has ever, let alone thought possible. But at the same time, no one has become king after experiencing such hardship, which is why she believes that he will be a greater king than anyone else. There we have it. Not only do I believe that, but right here was the origin of his dream. The most bittersweet part of this backstory is that Sei is crying his eyes out for someone that he only met recently, when the entire time he held nothing but emptiness in his heart. He was indifferent towards his own mother, but it was Sheikah that literally opened his eyes. It was Sheikah that allowed him to do what a normal child would, cry his eyes out because he's sad. What a backstory and what character development. Episode 10 brings us to the beginning of the next epic war. Leading us into this next campaign is none other than General Mogo. Chin, with the appointment of Mogo as Commander-in-Chief, is seeking the capture of Sanyo, an important military region in Wei. It is getting so hype. We're sending 200,000 soldiers. And out of those 200,000, our boy Shin and his Heishin unit managed to make it to the front of the main army. What an amazing achievement. And it feels so good to see everybody geeked. Of course, Ohon can't let our dogs be happy for even a second. That old bastard Banyo starts rage baiting as soon as they arrive. Ohon tries to belittle Shin and his unit, dressing it up as advice, but Shin isn't having it. It isn't a real conversation with our boy if he doesn't remind us that his Heishin unit will achieve the biggest victories of any given campaign, that he will be one of the greatest generals in the world. Later in the episode, we find out just how evil the Queen Mother is. She is the definition of callous when it comes to her own son. First of all, not a single bit of maternal instinct was felt when Sei visited her. How sad. Seeing his face did nothing. Hearing his words did nothing. She pretty much said, if he dies, it ain't got nothing to do with me. The messed up thing is that she feels the most for Ryufui, someone that she hates more than anyone else, yet at the same time, she said no one else excites her more than he does. She's freaked out of her mind. She way too damn horny. She's pushing 40. She way too damn old to be a deadbeat mum and doing fatherless activities. Her backstory is pretty tragic though. To make it more sad, in her prime dancing days, even people from towns on the edge of Zhao would visit just to get a glimpse at her beauty. This is quite literally a fall from grace. Someone this evil, this broken, used to be known as the Jewel of Kantan. Near the end of the episode, Ryufui rage baits the heck out of the Queen Mother. What happened, Jewel of Kantan? More than enough to make her crash out. It is here that we learn more about Ryofui's true character. The best way to describe it is city boys up, baby. Bro promised to spend his life with her only to hand her off for the bag. Hashtag waste her time. This is some nasty work from Ryufui. Doing all this for a bag? To crack some concubines? If one thing about Ryufui can't be denied, it's that he's gonna get his paper. If you made it to the end, thank you for tuning in. Let me know what you guys think of the Kingdom Anime Season 2 in the comment section below. Also, it would mean a lot to me if you guys left a like, share this video with a friend, and subscribe for more videos like this.